All right, let's start right in, Timmy. USMNT and USLNT. We are going to start with our guy, Gio Reyna.
Yep.
So I was surprised. I was doing my own thing in Vegas, and then we got a text from Andrew, and it was, I think, Andrew in the chat said, Gio scored. I was like, oh my God, Gio scored. So he played, I think, 33 minutes and scored. They lost 3-1. But this is a classic excuse for a coach now to play a player. So they lose, they don't play well. He comes in and scores. I really hope he gets a chance to start next game.
Yeah.
I think we both agree he's going to the World Cup. And it feels like maybe, just maybe, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe a little turning point here if he does get to start the next game.
Well, yeah, I think he's on the roster. You do too. This is the most minutes he's played, 33 minutes, most minutes he's played all season, correct? Is that right? Anyway, certainly since the turn of the year. And he scores. And yes, it's an irrelevant goal in the context of the game, but this is the point we'll try and hammer home to our listeners. We've been in situations where your team is getting throttled and you come in and you score the goal. That leaves a lasting impression. A small one, but maybe watch this space. We'll talk about it next week, but wouldn't be surprised if he earns more minutes or gets a start. That's what managers do. They try and shuffle the cards when things aren't going particularly well for a team. So anyway, yeah, fingers crossed that he gets more time.
We will pay attention to that, and if he does start next weekend and plays well, then that bodes really, really well for the national. I mean, that he could find himself in a starting lineup for sure this summer if that continues. Okay, so when we did our roster, what we think Pochettino is going to do, the two names, we'll get to both of them here, that they're probably mostly like people who just hate MLS and think it's terrible and all that, according to what you guys tell us in the group chat. First one, Alejandro Zendejas. So to be fair, he had a phenomenal game in their playoff game this week, and he scored twice and had an assist. They ended up losing in the playoff. But that's a hell of a way to leave the last impression, right? As your last game before the roster. Yeah. So were we wrong there? What, you think he finds a way in because of that? Do you think that that registers with Pochettino? Yeah.
I think it registers, and I do think leaving lasting impressions are important, LD, but I also think the manager's mind is made up at a certain point. Can you do enough if you're one of the three guys where you're the final roster spot and they're they're going to pick one from three? Can you do something in the waning moments to get their attention? Sure. But I also think they have, for the most part, their minds made up. I mean, you and I talked about this as we sit here today. I'm guessing Pochettino and his staff probably of the 26 roster spots. What do you think? They're pretty solid on 20.
4.
Okay, more than I. Yeah.
Oh, I think there's more. I think there's only 2 or 3 bubble guys. Would be my guess. So, because there's been injuries too, so that that eliminated some guys.
Right.
I think if Alejandro had been into other camps earlier, like Roldan and Berhalter and Aiden Morris and Tessman, I would have said okay, potentially, but he hasn't been in at all, even when other guys weren't there. So he, for whatever reason, and people need to get understand this about soccer specifically, but I think it's sports. For whatever reason, sometimes certain players are just not a coach's cup of tea. And they might be really talented or insane at this one thing or great at that or whatever. There's just sometimes it just doesn't fit. And that I've learned that so many times watching great players not get picked for a team or for a roster. It's just part of sports. And I know it's hard for fans because oh my God, he's playing in Liga MX. He scored 2 goals. Of course he's on the team. But for Pochettino, he's looking at this long period of work. And for whatever reason, maybe it doesn't work. Now, we'll get to some injuries. And if, Tanner Tessman's out or someone else gets injured, maybe he fits in. But as of now, it just feels like he's on the outside.
And just to hammer your point home, not everyone is every coach's cup of tea. The other part of that is you can also get coaches who play a player every week, and you're like, why is this guy playing? He's not he's not even that good. What do you love about him? There's just managers make their mind up about people, and that's okay. That's just how it works.
By the way, we're human too. So if you like the person, I don't have the verbatim quote, but Pochettino, when speaking about Roldan, if people don't,
Yeah.
a lot of anti-MLS people don't like Roldan, for the national team, whatever, that's fine. Pochettino, I think he quoted saying he is the perfect player. Like if you were
Yeah.
going to build a type of player. Now,
Sure.
is he more talented than some of these? No, but like
No.
that's what
That's right.
Pochettino values, right?
That's
So,
right.
so I sent you guys a message too. I had no idea Christian was injured.
Mhm.
So it seems like maybe a high hamstring glute injury that he suffered in training. They say precautionary, but not good. It was not good to not see him in the lineup, and they ended up losing at home too. Um, I'm not super concerned, but it's just another opportunity he missed to score. I want him desperately to score a goal before we get into the World Cup. That is my biggest 1, 2, and 3 thing is he
Yeah.
needs to just hit the net one time
Yeah.
because it's just hard to turn on, man. It really is.
High hamstrings and glutes worry me.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. There's hamstring injuries, right? And then when you have a hamstring injury, lower is better or higher is worse or some. I can't remember the exact because I've had a
Higher,
ton.
well, having experienced both, higher is worse
Higher is worse. So
for sure.
so high hamstring glute worries me. The fact that they said it's precautionary makes me happy, but I'm like, let's get that sorted out.
There's just been a lot of tumult there too, like at the end of the year with Milan. So let's hope he's okay. I think they only have 2 or 3 more games, maybe.
Yeah. Cotton
But
wool man.
again, just and then 2 friendlies, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So, we referenced Tanner Tessman. He will miss the remainder
Oh, I
of
had
the
a question.
season.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
stop you. So there's 2 friendlies, right? And then this might be another conversation because you were going to
yeah.
Tanner Tessman. Do you think in those 2 friendlies we will see
Mm,
one our best lineups for both
mm,
games? Another, I don't know how far apart there,
that's a
but
great question.
or like will we see the same, like will we play like the same starters like for 60 minutes, let's say, right? And then the next game play the same starters for 60 minutes. Like, do you think we'll see that consistency, or are you like no chance?
Tim, I have no idea.
Mhm.
And this
Mhm.
is of course we're a broken record, and people are like, here we go again. But what would be ideal is if we knew the 12 or 13 who he was basically picking the 11 from by now. Meaning over the last 2 years, they had played 14 games together or started 12 games together. But right now, I have no clue. And if I'm him, I'm picking my absolute best team that I think is going to start the first game, and I'm playing them twice in a row. And maybe it's
Same.
only 60 minutes, maybe it's 7, but I'm playing
Sure.
them twice in a row, 100%.
I'd like to see the back 4 or 5 be the same.
The problem is though, Tim, is I'm not sure they 100% know what their best team is. And so they
Well,
might still have to say, well, we need to see these guys in one game and these guys in another to decide who it's going to be. That's my worry.
That's
So,
crazy. All right. Sorry.
all right. So Tanner Tessman out the rest of the year with a muscle strain. So we'll see
Yeah.
where that goes. My guess is he's still in, but we don't have a ton of info on these injuries. So we don't know if it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
If it's 8 weeks, it's a different story, right?
Yeah. We don't know.
All right, Timmy. So let's talk about Johnny Cardoso. And we know he suffered that high ankle sprain in training with Atletico Madrid. We just found out during the recording, actually, now that he is going to have surgery. And I haven't heard many times of a player having surgery on a high ankle sprain.
Mhm.
Usually you just got to wait. I mean, that is obviously not a good sign. Maybe he goes to the World Cup, but I would say the chances are very, very, very slim. But
Yeah.
regardless, I think it's important that we walk you guys through because we want to help you understand how it is through a coach's eyes. And it's not always just the best player or the best player in that position. There are so many things that go into this. And a lot of you obviously were upset. And he plays for Atletico Madrid and all that. So let's just help you explain whether he goes or not. We'll see. But let's help you understand. Sorry.
Right.
What
So,
this
and
all
just
means.
before, let me set the table so you can break it down. So, just for you folks at home, Landon and I are looking at a chart of games dating back to, I believe the earliest is
This says
10, 12,
October of
24. So
24.
October 24. And these are sort of like all the US games that he could be a part of. So that just as a reference.
So
Go
this
ahead.
is why. So if I'm Pochettino, right, all you can do is look at the data you have. What
Yeah.
he's done for Atletico Madrid, and he's been injured and he's in and out and whatever. It's amazing. He's playing for a Champions League finalist. Like or semifinalist.
Semifinals.
It's an amazing, amazing accomplishment. But Pochettino is saying when he comes in, here's what's happened. First one, he missed the window with a knee injury. The next one, he started the Nations League quarterfinal versus Jamaica, got subbed off after 21 minutes with an injury. He was then not called in for the next camp he had. He played in the CONCACAF. Sorry, he was initially included in the squad for the Nations League, and then he had to pull out to an injury. He played 45 minutes in the 2-1 loss to Turkey, and if you remember, that's when he gave away the pass that led to the goal for Turkey, okay? Then he played 90 minutes, and we got pumped 4-0 by Switzerland. Again, this is the data that Pochettino has to go. Not available for the first match of the Gold Cup. He played 2 minutes versus Saudi Arabia and 9 minutes versus Haiti, and then did not play in any of the knockout stage games. We can think what we want. Pochettino's in camp with him, seeing him every day, decided not to play him.
Plays 11 minutes.
Played us 11 minutes in the Gold Cup. Not called in for the September friendlies in 25, unavailable for October because of injury, not called in for the November friendlies. Played the first half versus Belgium, and then left at halftime out of the game, discomfort in his leg, and was sent back to Madrid before wanted to go back to Madrid before even the next friendly. Okay. So I'm just giving you the facts of what's gone on. Is he talented? Yes, of course he is. But if you're Pochettino, you're going, I don't know if he's available. I'm not totally trusting that he's fully committed and wants to be here and do this just based on him pulling out, going out, coming out of the game, all these. I'm not convinced. And you go into a World Cup, dude, it is a battle, man. It's a grind for 6, 7, 8 weeks. You need guys who are all in. And if you're not all in, I'm not sure I can trust to take you. That's our point.
Well, the soccer terminology for these fans that gave us a sticker called Euro snob. So what a Euro snob is anything that happens in Europe, and if a player's playing at a big club, then they must play for your national team. And look, maybe as you said, but again, I'm looking at the same chart, LD, you're looking at, and I there's just a lot of red. He's out with injury. He's not in the squad when he does play. Again, we're all allowed to have bad games, but Turkey, poor performance in 45 minutes. And as you said, the next game we get pumped 4-0. He plays a 90, and then from then on, there's 21 minutes in this game, 9 minutes in that game, 2 minutes, 45 minutes. Like, I would love to see on here 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 80 minutes. Like, there's just no consistency. So the people who are giving us stick going, you're out of your mind, maybe, but that's not what his history and what Pochettino's looking at when he looks at Cardoso. Like, he's also saying, Poch also watched Atletico Madrid on TV the other day. He watched it. He saw. He sees these games, but he also calls them in and sees them in person, which is more important. And that's what we're judging this on.
Look, again, I want to make it clear. I would still take him. I'm going to assume everything is good within the group. He's a good teammate. Guys like him, all that, because that's a massive factor. But I would still take him. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. And if someone has info that I don't know, that from that list, if you can point to some games he had that were amazing or something that we missed, please fill me in. But if that's the data I'm looking at, I'm like, I'm not sure. Right? I'm not sure. All right. So those seem to be the biggest question marks. You guys let us know. What do you think is, I guess, the most difficult one for Pochettino to make right now? Timmy, you think he's got 20 or 21 maybe locked up? I think it's more.
Maybe more.
I think there's only a couple. And again, he's taking the whole breadth of work. He's not watching these last couple games going, oh, that's the guy. But to your point, if there's one or two guys who are close and someone has an amazing performance, you go, okay, well, he showed me, right? So, and of course, if you do want to respond, you can either hammer us on social media or you can just email Jordan at feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. All right, before we take a break, a reminder, on Friday, we have a really special episode. This was really fun to do. Tim and I got a list of national team players from the past and present in all different positions, and we had to draft a starting 11 for each of us. I'm not going to give any hints as to what happened.
I am. Tune in Friday and watch Landon get an absolute whooping. I won by a mile. But you guys beat it. You guys decide. I'll let you decide.
You guys decide, but I like my squad.
All right, guys. Not loves.
I adore my squad.